forward to hearing from a lot of y'all tonight. I'm glad y'all are here. However, the first thing we're going to do is present a proclamation to Ms. Pamela Tilson, our presentation for Constitution Week 2025. Not the Constitution, the proclamation reads, whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I, Preston Blakely, Mayor of the town of Fletcher, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim September 17th through 23rd, 2025 to be Constitution Week in Fletcher, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privileges of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. Ms. Tilson, I'll come present a proclamation to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for being here, absolutely.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the public comment portion of our evening. Is there anybody that wishes to speak for public comment? We don't have anybody signed up, unless y'all gonna be speaking in a little bit anyways. All
Mayor,
right.
if I can just remind everyone to turn their mics on. too.
Oh, sure.
As you
Thank you.
talk.
All righty, moving on to updates from council, if there's any updates.
Yeah, I have one. So just an update from the Transportation Advisory Committee from Henderson County. We met on the 20th of August and reviewed some documents that are online for folks to review. It's called the SPOT 8.0. It's a list of prioritization projects that the county looks at, and then the French Broad River MPO looked at it on the 21st. It's projects listing from bike ped to modernization projects and everything, but one specific that is in relation to the town of Fletcher is they have included Fanning Bridge Road, a modernization project, depending upon division needs and so on and so forth. So there is a public comment period for this document. If folks would like to go read it, you can go on the French Broad River MPO website, click Plans, then Spot 8.0, and it gives you a detail of the entire document there. And that will actually be approved by the MPO, I believe, in September or October. So definitely, if anybody's interested in those projects around the region, especially these specific to Division 13 and 14, but it would be a modernization project for Fanning Bridge Road to include some sidewalks, DOT upgrades and that sort of thing. So something that I think is much needed. And I think we hear it a lot from the residents here in Fletcher, especially those that would prefer to walk to town down Fanning Bridge. There's really no way to do that. I've specifically seen a couple of people about hit on Fanning Bridge Road trying to go that route coming to town. So just a document there for folks to read that is on the list. When that will happen, nobody knows. But there is a 20% match for the town if that were to come to fruition, and that's something we'd have to look at down the road, see what the plans look like. There's no plans, nothing right now in place, just putting it on the list for the state to look at to bring up to standards if it meets their criteria.
Hopefully that continues to move forward and it gets funded. Like you said, I've had numerous residents reach out to me about Fanning Bridge Road and safety, particularly walking on it. So hopefully we can get that funded and moving forward.
Yes.
Any other updates from council?
I went to the concert in the park, Saeed Preston was there.
was.
Seemed to be an okay crowd that was there. I'm thinking maybe like 100 people or so.
Yeah.
The band was really good. They only got about 40 minutes of playing before they got monsooned out. It rained pretty hard. But I would recommend the band again. They had a wide variety of music, and they bring their own following with them. So in our area, they're pretty popular. So it was a good event other than all the rain.
Yeah, well done to Parks and Rec on that event.
Yeah,
So
they
pass
did a
our
great
thanks
job.
on.
Thank you, I'll pass that along to them.
All right, any other updates from council? All right, hearing none, moving into our discussion items. Next week, our presentation from Love and Respect Community. Ms. Turner will be here, who's the Director of Operations, so we'll be looking forward to that. And then moving into item number 6, the discussion and review of applications from individuals to fill vacancies on the Park and Recreation Board. And just to be clear, we have 2 vacancies and 1 expiring term. The expiring term is Mr. Richard Haskey, isn't that all correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so we're going to give everybody who's applied a chance to come to the podium, speak first, because we have quite a few people in here. Speak for about 3 to 5 minutes. Tell us why you want to serve. Tell us a little bit about yourself and anything else you might want to share. After that, we'll open up the floor for questions from council after each individual speaks. Usually council has questions, so we appreciate y'all having those questions and y'all being here. After you all do that, next week we'll make a decision about appointments. And so there's 3 positions, again, 2 vacancies and 1 expiring term. And council, I'm just going to go in the order of the bulk as it goes in our agenda package. Now, the first person we have is Ms. Catherine Taylor. Ms. Catherine Taylor's here. There you go. So you're first, and I appreciate you being first. And again, just be mindful of time. Just try to stick to about 3 to 5 minutes. And again, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you want to serve, and anything else you might want to share. Then council will ask you some questions.
All right, well, my name's Catherine Taylor, or I go by Katie. I am a home health physical therapist for Care Partners, and I am a travel agent, and I am a mom of 2 little boys, 8 and 10, Jet and Maverick. And I noticed this position popped up on I follow the Parks and Rec page, and like the Fletcher page on Facebook. So my family, as far as the park, I have a lot invested there personally. My youngest son plays baseball there. I don't know how many birthday parties we've had at the shelter, or, my kids go to birthday parties there. They go to the summer camp every year, and God bless that summer camp, because if we didn't have that camp, trying to afford camp for 2 kids in this area, so they've been to camp many years. There's some summers I feel like I pretty much live there, between both kids and their sports. I also, being a home health therapist, when I get patients to the point that they can move and walk, I refer them to outpatient therapy, but I also talk about Fletcher Park a lot. I like the way it's laid out. I like that there's pavement. I like that there's benches. I think it's very accessible for people with disabilities. So not only on like a personal level, I utilize that park, but on a professional level, I think I would be a good person to serve on that, because I could give some input on like making things accessible for people in the community. And I have a pretty good idea of the people in the community, because I'm with the younger generation all the time, and then I'm treating most of the older population in this area. But I just, I go to a lot of the events. With my other business, as I'm a travel agent, I've helped out Josh has let me put my business out there to like hand out candy for the Halloween events. I come to the painting in the park or painting here, like I attend the events. So yeah, that's fine. I'm personally invested in the community and in specifically Parks and Rec, because it affects my family and me.
Wonderful. What questions do we have?
What is one thing you would improve at the park?
Good question.
This is really nitpicky, but like the fencing on the baseball fields, I don't understand why, like, at the batters, some of the fencing is really low, and then out in the outfield, it's really high. When like actually, if you're gonna get hit with a ball, you might get hit. But we do have recycling bins out there, right? I can't remember yet.
I'm not sure that we
You know
do.
what?
Yeah, I think just trash cans.
So
No,
I
yeah, just
don't
trash
think
cans.
too, actually, because the last birthday party I had, I dumped out a whole lot of water bottles, and I remember being like, I really hate to throw these in the trash. So I would probably, I think the fencing on the baseball field had to do with when the, like, maybe this stuff came in after Hurricane Helene, but I would probably put recycling bins out there for water bottles and cans, because there is a lot of birthday parties and
Right.
things at the shelter.
Excellent.
What do you think the biggest strength of our parks are?
I mean, I think they appeal to everybody. Like, there's, again, you know, the kids love it. And I like that there's the benches and the level paved areas for elderly people as well. So I think it's appealing to all generations. I think it's safe. I mean, you know, knock on wood, you know, I feel pretty safe there. I mean, I like the concession stand. I like Bay Bells being there on baseball nights where everyone wants some ice cream or, you know, the bathrooms are clean. I just think it's a nice park.
Wonderful. What other questions do we have? No? Well done.
Yep.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Mr. Patrick Nord. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you all for having me. My name is Patrick Nard. I think last time I had to give my address. I don't know if I need to do that.
Nah, you don't need to do it for this.
Thank you all for having me again. I was last here in February. It's been about 211 days since then, and I had mentioned the number of days I had spent in the park, so I think since then it's been about 500 more, if the math works out, something like that. I'm here to express interest in serving on the board. Had spoken to you all before about serving on the zoning board, but when I came to discuss that, mostly talked about the park. And I know I spoke with Mr. Reed and Mr. Player afterwards about sort of keeping an eye out for a position to come for this board. So not much has changed in the sense of why I'm here. The first reason is really to learn about the vision that the town has for the park, that the community has for the park. I know there were some developmental plans and master plans that were put in place before the pandemic. And I'm not sure necessarily how much those have panned out over time or changed. So interested in learning about that vision and interested in learning about the problems that the town is encountering or the Parks and Rec Board encounters or the folks who work in maintenance at the park. The issues they're encountering, whether those are capital-based problems or practical or labor-based problems. Like, what are the issues that the town is running into with trying to execute their vision? So that's the first thing, is just to learn from you all, from the community, and from those folks in the park. The second reason that I'm here is really to give back. I have experience in large and small business. Discussed this a little bit last time in managing facilities anywhere from 50,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet, sort of in the first half of my professional life. And in the more recent half, have been working as a government contractor with federal, state, and municipal agencies. So I have a little bit of an idea of how those things can take a little bit longer than in the private sector and need to be a little more mindful of how money is spent since it's taxpayer money. But in the end, from the perspective of giving back and helping, I think this is sort of a funny way to put this, but I think one of the biggest things I can add is to also just be a workhorse. If we need someone to volunteer at the events, to set things up, break things down, move things in, move things out, that's kind of my wheelhouse, is physical work. So happy to contribute that as well. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I know I had mentioned to you all before, I do live by the park and have joked a few times about spending nearly every day there. But it really is a special place. I think it's the heart of Fletcher, and it's probably one of our greatest assets. And if we can continue to leverage it, I think there's community advantages, financial advantages, and otherwise. So really appreciate your time and consideration. Thanks.
Wonderful. What questions do we have?
I guess the same question. What improvement would you make at the park?
Sure. I had talked about this last time. This is like a dream improvement, but there is a property next to the park that would be a phenomenal addition. I think it was probably equally as flooded during Helene, so it doesn't necessarily serve a lot of purpose from a developmental perspective, so it would be neat to see that. But I think from a smaller perspective, having quite a bit of experience with parks in New York, one thing that I always remember was there being benches basically every few feet. And I think that creates a really neat environment where there's always folks sort of sitting there with their dogs or with their kids or with family and friends. And I would love to see a campaign where we raise money by issuing placards on the benches. And that would essentially give us the ability to put the benches in at no cost or maybe at some sort of earning potential for the town. But I think that brings a neat presence when you have that sort of set up around the park or around the main loop.
What do you think the greatest strength at the park is?
I said this once before, I think the size. I had looked this up at one point. If you take out federal or national parks and state parks, I think our park is one of the largest in the state. And I think that's a really neat quality to have, and that, again, sort of brings the heart of the community here. The second strength that we have is the events that are held at the park, and it's definitely gotten to a point where it's more folks than just Fletcher who are attending the events, as we can see. So I can imagine there being more, whether that's doing something for 4th of July, or I don't know if y'all have been to the winter lights at the Arboretum, but maybe we can do the Fletcher-sized version of that, which would be really neat. But I think that plays to the strengths, is the way that we celebrate and hold events there.
Wonderful. What other questions do we have? Well, one thing I'll say is I'm glad to hear that you're getting the use out of the park, and I think it's really a testament to how important connectivity is, that you live right next to the park. And I'm guessing maybe you're able to walk there or do walk there.
Every morning.
Wonderful. Glad to hear that. Well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here, Patrick.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Patrick.
All righty, next we have Miss Julie Hunter. And thank you for being here.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for having me. My name is Julie Hunter, and I'm brand new to Fletcher. I actually bought a house in February, and I had a previous commitment and could not move here until May. And since May, I have frequented your park extensively, and I've actually seen you running there, Mr. Mayor, quite a few times.
Probably.
So I just want to give you a little background about myself. I'm a retired educator. For the last 35 years, I've been working in the public school system, and it's provided me with a first-hand view of the importance of community. Working as a teacher, a coach, an athletic director, an assistant principal, and a principal, I have seen firsthand how important playgrounds, parks, and recreation programs are. These experiences help to build character, foster teamwork, and create lasting friendships. My experience as an educator has also provided me with a deep appreciation for the diverse needs of families, along with clear, thoughtful communication and collaborative problem-solving skills. To be on the Parks and Recreation Board, I will tell you firsthand, I do not have an agenda. My thought process was, it is a good way for me to learn the community, be a part of a new community, and embed myself in this community and just give back. As an educator, yes, I'm retired, but I'm not done. And working with children has always been a passion of mine, and so I would like to give back as much as possible by serving on this board. I would like to say that I read the Fletcher Parks and Recreation webpage, and it says, the work of this department is to enhance the quality of life for its residents by providing positive leisure activities and well-maintained parks and facilities, and to also provide experiences that create connections and generate opportunities for our community to come together. What I've seen so far as a new resident of Fletcher, that's what I see. And this vision that the Parks and Rec Board is to ensure our community's recreational offerings are vibrant, inclusive, and accessible to everyone. And I would certainly appreciate the opportunity to serve, and I would definitely bring my experience and enthusiasm to this board. Thank you.
Well, Wonderful. Well, first and foremost, thank you for being an educator. It's a tough job. Thank you for doing that.
I'm still working.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. What do you think the greatest strength of our parks are?
I think the size, just in being out there, and I usually play pickleball and walk there, is the opportunity for growth. I think that's the biggest strength there. As far as improvements, I think the best thing as an advisory board is to work with the Parks and Recreation Director and look at your strategic long-term plan and what you see for the vision, and work with the director and the council in that means.
Sure. What other questions, comments do we have?
It's a little bit off, but I'm just curious.
Go for it.
Since you said pickleball, in your experience, do you see a need for an expansion of the pickleball courts? More courts, basically? Or does it look like it's working out good the way it is?
I usually and normally play during the week, in the mornings. I do not frequent the parks on the weekends, so I can't speak to that. But what I see during the weekdays, I think the 4 courts are plenty for right now, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Other questions, comments? Sounds good. Next time I'm out there running, I'll be sure to wave and say hello to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you.
All righty. Next, we have Miss Helen Dixon. The floor is yours, and good to see you.
Good to see you. Hello. Good evening. My name is Helen Dixon. I'm a proud resident of Fletcher for the past 4 years, and I currently serve as the president over at Sycamore Cottages on the HOA board. In that role, I work closely with several committees: the beautification, social, newsletter, the ARC, and the hearing committee, to keep our neighborhood engaged, transparent, and thriving. I'm also a small business owner here in Western North Carolina. For the last 11 years, I've run my Best Kept Secret cleaning service, 5 of those years right here in the community. Through that work, I've built strong connections with neighbors, local businesses, and community partners. What drives me is service. Whether it's organizing volunteer days, built-in partnerships with local businesses, or simply listening to neighbor concerns. I firsthand seen how much stronger a community becomes when people step up and work together. I want to bring the same spirit to the Parks and Recs Advisory Board. I don't see myself replacing leadership at the table. I see myself adding to it. I want to contribute my skills in communication and organization, collaboration to help Fletcher continue to grow and thrive. I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here, Helen.
Thank you.
What questions do we have?
Do you visit the park often?
I do visit the park often. I am sad that my daughter has aged out of the summer camp. So she's in 8th grade this year. So since moving here, we were there for 3 years. It's the best. I tell everybody about it. You could not go to that. You could not go to a summer camp for $160 a week. It was ridiculous. We lived right over at Sycamore Cottages. She wanted to be there at 7:30 in the morning and be picked up at 5:30. Come home exhausted, was ready for bed at 7 o'clock at night. The campers were all great kids. Counselors, awesome. So we're huge. We love the park, yes.
Do you think that's the greatest strength, the summer camp?
Yes, the summer camp. I wish we could expand it out. There's such, as a mom, there is such a need for summer camp. And one of the things I asked my daughter about with the summer camp is, I'm like, God, the middle school camp, there was only like 10 kids. And I'm like, God, why do you think there's only, why is there only 10 spots? And she would always say, well, there's only one van. We need more vans. And I look at it and I look at the wait list. I'm like, could you imagine how many more kids we could serve in our community if we had like maybe another van or two? I think the kids are our future. And when they have a nice place where they can go to camp, play in the playgrounds, walk around. There's a lot to be said about that place over there.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Helen. Okay, next we have Shelby Henderson. Good evening. Thanks for being here this evening.
Thanks. As a previous HR leader, I do have resumes. Does anybody like them?
Sure, yeah.
I think about 6, so you might be able to split.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for the time. My name is Shelby Henderson. I've been a Fletcher resident for 7 years, so I bought my first home here, which was really exciting, and I've been here since, just right near Fletcher Elementary. My interest in the board is, it's someplace that I go every day, most days, honestly. I have a new baby at home, so I recently stepped away from my professional work. I worked as a HR manager for Mission Health, so I was in Asheville and then in Brevard. So I've been in, the professional HR world for the past 10 years or so, and I have been a stay-at-home mom since January. So it's been a big adjustment for me moving to a stay-at-home mom position, and this park has really saved my sanity, honestly. It's somewhere that I go, I take her, I get out of the house. So it's someplace, that me serving on the board would be my way to give back for all that this park has given to me. I went through a divorce years ago, saved my sanity then, so lots of different things where I've just found refuge in the park that's here in our town. So I do currently serve on the board of directors for Leather Wolf Animal Rescue, so I do have some experience with board and serving in a nonprofit, a little bit different than what we've got now, but I'll hope to use, the skills that I have learned in board service with Brother Wolf, as well as my professional time to be able to assist and, grow our parks and Regs department here in Fletcher. And, thinking about your questions, Amber, I think you asked about the improvement. I think one thing for me is we hope to get that expansion opened back up, over the bridge, whatnot. I know they're starting to work on it.
We're working on it.
Yes, yep. I do think, maybe one day if there could be a bathroom on that side of the world, I think that's something that I could like to have. And I know with people with small children out there, they sometimes decide that they need to go back. So that would be nice to have, even a porta john or something out on that side of the world. And then, our greatest asset, the park is, a great asset. I love all of those. I usually go during the week, during the mornings. The gentlemen that work there that are always so pleasant, they're always waving, they say hello, they do a great job. I really think that, with my HR background, I think about the people that make things work. And I think that they do an incredible job. They do a nice job. They are friendly, they are welcoming. So I appreciate them, and, I think that they're a tremendous asset to our park. So.
Wonderful. I'm glad you raised that up. I think our staff do an absolutely wonderful job, and that they make us look good.
Yes.
So we appreciate them.
I enjoy talking to them as well.
Yeah.
They feel good.
I do. I know. I've been getting updates. I think the supervisor, the blonde guy, I think that's, he's been telling me about, getting bids and this and that. So I'm excited to hear that that's in progress. So I'll make the pitch for more pickleballs on the weekends. That thing is slammed full. So, and I know that I've seen the pickleball lessons are always sold out too. So pickleball's it's a hot thing for sure.
It is.
So it's pretty backed up on the weekends.
I mean, we went with friends 2 weekends ago, and multiple people came up and, left. I made my reservation online, so I was like, sorry, we reserved this, but yeah, a couple people did get turned away.
What other questions or comments do we have?
Shoot them all.
Well, I'll say I'm also a UNCG undergrad and
Yeah.
Western Master, so
There we go.
small world.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for your
Yeah,
comments.
thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All righty, next we have Mr. Richard Haskey.
Good time. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rich Hashby. I've been serving on the board for the past 3 years now, so I appreciate the opportunity to do that once again. I've lived in Fletcher since 2021, also bought my first home there. And we've been going to the park since day one. I have a 6 and a 4-year-old now. One was in my wife's belly, one was 2 years old when we moved here, but we've been going there since day one. And I come from a place that does not have, the park's pale in comparison to what Billmore Park offers. So I was just in awe from the beginning. I think that's what kind of brought me in to the board for my first term. I'm a small business owner and marketing consultant, so I think I can offer a kind of that unique perspective on marketing, organization, kind of that small business mindset, which I know Greg and Josh have leaned on in the past, so I'm excited to keep offering that. And I just see a lot of further potential. I mean, we've done a ton, despite the huge speed bump that we had with Helene and everything. Being on the board during that was quite the process, and I feel like, you know, I'm in fully now after going through that. So it's been great to see Josh come in and really kind of inject new life into the department. I know he's doing a lot. You mentioned the concert in the park, or I'm sorry, the concert at the auction house, and just the variety of different events. The farmers market's outstanding. I mean, we can grow further there. So I think getting more small businesses involved in the community is a great avenue to take for future growth. I also think there's opportunity to maybe do more with like outdoor skills, outdoor education, maybe at the park, maybe offering some classes, some outdoor survival skills, maybe, you know, even putting up signs at the park to kind of, you know, tell you about the different flora and fauna around, things like that I think can be done to improve and just get people more involved in nature and the outdoors and just fully embracing the park. I want to give a shout out to Kate's Park too, because I feel like that gets lost in the discussion. I know there's been some improvements done there. My daughter goes to the preschool right there, and she's there. She's like the queen of the park. She's there every day, so had to give that some love. They're doing a great job. The team's doing great all around, but great job not forgetting about Kate's Park.
Yeah,
So.
thanks for bringing up Case and Pete's Park. I was wondering if anybody was going to do that. It's
Yep.
a wonderful
Yep.
asset for the community. All right, what other questions, comments do we have?
Thank you for serving.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
As you
serving.
heard everybody saying all the great stuff about the park, and also the future. I know you're already on the board and everything. You're looking for re-up, but yeah,
Yeah.
you guys did a great job, so.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it.
All righty, next we have Nicole Gardner. Nicole? All righty. Then we are moving on to Ms. Joanna Spindola. And thanks for being here again so soon.
Nice to see you again. So I won't talk too much about my background, but since we kind of just went over that a few weeks ago. But I'm Joanna. I live here in Fletcher. Lived here for about 4.5 years. In terms of my involvement with the park, I go there multiple times a week. I don't have children. I hope to someday. Looks like a great place to bring kids. I do have a little dog, and she enjoys it greatly, and my husband enjoys it too. We just go there to walk. I think if I had my way, I'd have a sand volleyball court. That's just me. It's because that's something that I play. And then it would be perfect. But aside from that, I think I have a set of skills that would be applied to just helping out, donating my time. I'm an architect, work in a commercial firm in Asheville, specialize in higher education, educational projects, public projects. I myself am actually working with the city of Asheville on a park improvement right now. So that's given me some perspective into how to improve the park, and like negotiating the needs of the community, like budget constraints and things like that, and upgrading accessibility, just really important details like that. So that's something that I bring to the table. That's great. I'm also the director of outreach of the American Institute of Architects, and I think how that relates is that a lot of what I do is actually organize events for our local architecture community. So in terms of like the recreational side of that, I have a lot of experience organizing events up to like 100 people. It's including managing vendors, getting sponsorship, just communicating, getting people to come. So if there's any way that I can contribute my skills, that would be great.
Wonderful. What questions or comments do we have?
Well, being that you're the first animal person up there, You ever used the dog park?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's great. I also, it's great that there's a small dog section and a big dog section. So my dog is on the smaller end, so it's nice to be able to like feel like she's not gonna get ganged up on. And it's usually very clean. The people are really nice. It's kept up. There's always like waste disposal bags all around the park, so that's very convenient for when I hang out. And people just in general are respectful of the park, like we never have any issues walking the dog, and yeah, that's about it.
Sounds good. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of the applicants. So folks, if you all want to come back next week, council will make a motion and we'll approve the 3 people to the Parks and Rec Board. Again, it's 1 expiring term and 2 vacancies. And so council will be able to make a decision on that next week. And thank y'all for being here. Any questions, comments, anything from council?
I just want to say I'm excited with the sheer number of people that put in to do this.
Yeah.
This makes it very difficult because I'd love for everybody to get to do it and be involved. But again, thank y'all for giving your time tonight and putting in, and continue, if you don't get on now, please continue to put your name in for that process, because it's awesome to see this number of people.
It is. We're excited to see y'all. We have a great application pool. Any other questions, comments, council? Oh, go ahead.
We've also got someone that's applied for the
ABC board.
ABC board. Is that something that's being gone over this time, or is that something that's going to be?
Oh, we're gonna, we'll go over it in a little bit.
Okay.
So we're gonna do this one, and then we're gonna go to Water and Sewer Commission. And I think we only have 1 individual for ABC board.
Yeah.
And so we'll get it through.
Okay.
All righty. Moving on to item number 7, the discussion and review applications for a representative from Fletcher to serve on the Water and Sewer Commission. Just to give y'all a little bit of background about that, the city of Hendersonville and Henderson County entered into this interlocal agreement where they're going to create this Water and Sewer Commission. There's still a little bit of vagueness to that we're trying to figure out. I'm not sure that we have an exact meeting date yet. But the county commission chair asked us to appoint somebody from Fletcher, or make a recommendation for somebody from Fletcher, and they would appoint that person. And so you all would be advising the city and the county on water and sewer issues. And so I think we have 3 applicants for that. But let me back up. There's one other thing I want to mention. So I spoke with the county commission chair today, and Chairman Lapsley referenced that there may be some uncertainty going on with that agreement. And so I think he still asked for the applicant recommendation, but I think there's some uncertainty about whether that's going to move forward or not. And so the local agreement, from my understanding, has been agreed to, but maybe they're backtracking on some things. But there's also a bill in the General Assembly that may put this into stone, so we'll have to see. Regardless, they're still asking for us to suggest somebody, so I'm glad for you 3 to be here regardless. All righty, we're going to do the same process again. We're going to order in our application, in our agenda packets, and our first person is Mr. Jacob Comper. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me here. Really appreciate the opportunity to serve. My name is Jacob Comper. I've lived in Fletcher for about 5 years. I moved to the area in 2018 after leaving Boone. I lived in Charlotte for a few years and lived in Boone for a few years, and I always tell people, like, this is the best blend because Charlotte was a little too much and Boone was like a little too much of nothing. So it's great being here in Fletcher. What I went to school for while I was up in Boone is for my master's in public administration, and ever since I've graduated, I've been in public service since then. I was a planner for Henderson County, planner briefly for Baltimore County in the DC area while I was attending law school. That was a long, different story, but I came back to the area to work for Buncombe County. I was there for about 3 years, and now I currently work for Land of Sky Regional Council as a regional planner, doing a lot for the area, specifically with a focus on housing. That's a huge problem we're having here, and it's been my duty to figure out the affordable housing crisis, and that's still a work in progress, but hopefully things are progressing. We'll see. And doing sewer connectivity is a huge part of that, but that'll open up the avenue not only for economic development, but you can have more denser projects with sewer connectivity, no matter where it goes. And I should add a matter of disclosure here as well. I know I'm currently working with Town of Fletcher on doing a grant for a decentralized wastewater system for some failing projects off of Fanning Bridge. That's something I'm happy to just throw that out there as not necessarily expertise in that, but just so there's no gray area in that. I'm working to help us get some homes that have failing septics, hopefully either connected to sewer or get those repaired. But
That's the item that CSB that we talked about the last couple of months.
Yeah, SRF, yeah.
The application we're doing.
so that's one project that I'm involved with heavily, and I'm hoping to make that a reality here, and also working with Brevard to make their affordable housing project they've got with School of Government, trying to get sewer connectivity there. So got my hands in trying to get things happening, and hopefully I can serve as a great representative here for Fletcher on the board if it comes to fruition. I know how complicated government interlocal agreements can be, but hopefully this one works out for us here.
Wonderful. What questions, comments? Have you figured out the affordable housing issue yet?
I told Nathan I'd do it in 2 months. It's going to happen anytime soon, but sewer would definitely help.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate your comments.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Mr. Mitch Brevard.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak. So my name is Mitch Brevard. Just kind of go over some history that we've discussed before for other applications. Native son of Fletcher. Love Henderson County, love Fletcher. Moved away for a period of time and sought for and desired to come back. So we moved back in 2022. And looking forward to an opportunity to be involved with the area that has provided so much for me. It's no surprise to anybody that our area's had some exponential growth, and I don't think it's going to slow down. And I think we need to have a great plan for the infrastructure that's going to be needed to continue to grow. And from my perspective, I think we've done a really good job of it so far, and I just want to be part of the process to shepherd that going forward. Look forward to an opportunity to work with others with different ideas and collaborate on the best ways to achieve that process. Any questions from that?
Questions, comments? I hear none. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch.
All righty. And Ms. Joanna, I know you just did this, but if there's anything that you want to say related to water, sewer, please do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an architect, I'm not a civil engineer or water engineer, but I do work in adjacency to those fields, and I do have a pretty good understanding of that zoning laws. And so I think that I'd be happy to apply my skills and serve in a way that you see fit, but just improving the built environment is something that's close to my heart, so, yeah.
Wonderful. Questions, comments? Thank you for coming up twice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joanna. Yeah, well, I guess three times now, pretty recently. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll keep going back.
Thank you, Joanna. All righty, folks, and same deal, come back next week. We'll make the appointment or recommendation rather to the county commission, county commissioners. I'm also gonna try to talk with Bill Lapsley, the commission chair, to see if we can get some clarity about what's going on with the interlocal agreement. Hopefully it hasn't fallen apart. If it has, we're sorry. But hopefully we can have that representation from Fletcher here. Thank y'all for applying. All righty. And next, we have the ABC board appointment, and I think we just have one applicant, if my memory serves me correctly. And Miss,
Her application too.
who did? Oh, do we have two applicants?
I think one person put that ABC board as a second alternative.
Yeah.
Because they were Parks and Rec, I put them, first on that.
Ah.
It would be, Ellen Dixon.
Okay, I see, yeah, good catch. All righty, then we have two. Helen, you're already up, come, yeah. And thank you for speaking twice.
Thank you for having me. I wasn't sure if I was going to speak about this tonight, but I have 20 years in retail. I've experience in retail 20 years. I worked in a supermarket, we did a lot of resets, I worked on the night crew, we would bring everything in, so I feel like that kind of experience I could bring to in the stores. I was a sales rep for Kellogg's company for 10 years. We'd go around, would build all the displays. Everything was incremental. We didn't pay for shelf space, so I knew how important it was to get the product in. I feel with that kind of experience, I could help maybe with the, with sales of liquor and whatever we did do. I wasn't prepared for this one.
No, I'm sorry, yeah, you're completely fine.
So basically, I have a lot of years' experience in the retail business. I know how the operations of the inside and the back warehouse works, and I would like an opportunity to be on the board and see what I could do to help.
Wonderful. No questions? Do we have comments? No, thank you for coming up here spontaneously.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
All righty. And that's Miss Rachel Nord. And thank you for being here this evening, too.
Thank you.
And do you make your way to the park just as much?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not here for the parks. Thank you for having me. My name is Rachel Nard. I've been a resident of Fletcher for the last 5 years. We have 2 kids that go to Fletcher Elementary School in 4th and 2nd grade, so we love raising our kids here. Professionally, I have a Master of Accounting degree from the UNC Keenan Flagler Business School. And currently, I'm an accounting manager for other small businesses. I work remotely, and we serve businesses that generally do 5 to 10 million in annual revenue. So kind of looking at Fletcher's annual revenue, it was a very comparable size. And previous to this role, I did a little bit of work in audit in a local public accounting firm, and they served a lot of nonprofits, and I got to go into some of the neighboring towns who were their clients. Flat Rock was one of them, and as I got looking into the books, I was just really interested in that side of things and wanted to see how I could make that a part of something that I could be involved in as well. And so when I saw this opportunity come up, I was really excited to put my name in the hat.
Wonderful. What questions or comments do we have? Hear none. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Wonderful, good job.
Thank you so much.
All righty. And again, same spiel. If y'all want to come back next week about the ABC board appointment, we'll make that decision then. Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and item number 9, next week Chief Terry will be here for a presentation on the 2024 crime rates and police operations. And discussion item number 10, a discussion of potential stormwater improvement grant program for private property owners. I know, Mark, you have some things, but also Trevor, been working on this summer, so Mark, I'm trying to figure out which way the direction to go here, but Mark, go ahead.
I think this, kind of the lead up to this was we were not able to assist a resident recently with a stormwater issue over at Fletcher Hills. So this kind of led into a grant program that actually Commissioner Lance found, and we did some research into that. And then I went on the manager's listserv and also, to my surprise, found quite a few grant programs to do stormwater improvements outside the town's right-of-way, which typically most municipalities with stormwater services are only doing stormwater improvements within our roadways, and it's typically drainage culverts, it might be curb and gutter, some things associated with that. But when you go outside of the right-of-way, it's typically the private property owner's responsibility to make any impacted stormwater improvements. So we did some research on this, and I commend Commissioner Lance, or Councilmember Lance, finding the Jupiter, Florida program, which then kind of led into a bunch of other research on this, and I was able to, because if you Google this, you really don't find many programs to do grants outside of a town or municipality right away for stormwater improvements. But I was able, through some other colleagues, to find about 4 other municipalities, and there's probably more in the state, but I really actually hadn't heard much about doing work outside of town right-of-way for stormwater work. So it was interesting to find quite a few other examples. I shared that with you. I think you all hopefully had an opportunity to look at that. And my goal for tonight was just to we can run through the Jupiter program and then maybe talk about some of the others because it's a lot to digest. You've got issues of what kind of limit you might want to put on a grant program. You've got issues of how much money you want to fund it with, the application process, who's controlling bids on work. I mean, there's a lot of things to determine, hopefully put together a good kind of private property, if you will, stormwater improvement grant program. And since that time, and I shared that with you, and I guess this would be the lead into if Trevor would like to talk a little bit about something he put together, basically kind of combining all that information. And I just simply hadn't had time after going through all that between now and then to put a draft. I also wanted to get your input, first of all, on, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go about developing something like this, and there's a lot of logistics to go through. We have a lot of good examples based on the information I shared with you, but there's also a lot of decisions that have to be made, all those things. Dollar amount, is there a match? Who's controlling? Is it all reimbursable, et cetera? How long do you want to do this? Is it going to just be seed money? So since that time, I know Trevor had worked on the mayor a little bit, a draft of a potential grant program for Fletcher. And so I guess with that, unless there's any questions on the information I put together, I'll kind of turn it over. Oh, and one other thing, I mentioned in the report that I put in there in your packet that I reached out to the School of Government to kind of cover a base there. I had not heard back from them, but the question's about public purpose, and this clearly needs a public purpose, and I think it's been vetted by these other grant programs that other municipalities have done in our state. So with that, and I can run through it, or
Trevor, you want to go through it?
Yeah, fine. Real quick, the reason why we come with this is because it's, we talked about there's needs out there that we do not know every need. After Helene storm, I know there's been issues with culverts been washed out, issues with roads, and also yards has been washed away, and a lot of folks don't have the money to fix their own property because they've had to turn around and fix damage to their houses and other things, and tree services that FEMA couldn't pick up. So just trying to think outside the box a little bit. I know there's several ones out there Mark put out there. The one we're kind of showing right here, we're just trying to put something together to start streamlining. We don't want to make this thing where it lasts like 3-4 months down the road after trying to get this thing developed, because we're starting into, we're actually in the middle of hurricane season now, so a good storm can come through and wash somebody's house away if they don't have the right stormwater runoff. So the ones you got in front of you here is a combination of Gastonia example and also Salisbury. I think also the other one is Shelby. We could probably add a couple of small things from Shelby. The reason why we didn't focus a lot on that because it talked about like engineering. The engineering for Shelby, the town pays or city pays 100% of the engineering or third party. And another piece that might be applicable that we could probably put in that in here is, there's a piece in there about the payment plan that you can do, but it's a $200 non-refundable fee. And another thing that Shelby, personally, I didn't like is you charge the residents $50 non-refundable fee just to put an application in. Right now it tells me that, yeah, that's, you're not there for the people, almost, you're trying to help the folks, so that should be a barrier that you shouldn't come across. One thing they like about the Gastonia, which most other ones have a matching up to 50%, Gastonia had a 90%, where the town actually pays 90%. And with that being said right there, is since Helene hit, I think everybody's probably strapped for cash, after having to clean up their yard, their property, and also homes and everything. That I know insurance companies has not a lot of claims because of flooding that they've had out of pocket. So anything that we can help, this was going to be, my opinion, when we first started talking about this, a one-time offer. Not like every year we're going to continue doing this and funding it and everything. So we had to figure out the funding. And these numbers can change through here. And then again, this was, if you look at most of the grant from other cities, that it seems like there's the same theme of being, if you look at the first page, this is like a flyer that was from Gastonia. The same theme is, cap out at $50,000 if you look at most of them. And we just kind of broke down the same three categories of $30,000 and $10,000. And then again, this is just the first flyer to put out for people to read. It's a quick grab. And then the next page right there, if you look at it, it actually rolls into the actual stormwater off right-of-way assistance program, kind of defines and details the program. And I kind of took some pieces out of different ones, like the Salisbury and the Gastonia. I don't think it has the eligibility that we put in here, where you must live in the town limits. I think they just had like a broad thing, so I think that's important. If you pay taxes to the town, you should be able to access this grant. A couple of small things, and one thing that I know Preston has talked about right here, the mayor, was at least the 3 licensed insured contractors quote is required. I think that's a standard practice if you look at Salisbury and all the other ones that has that same verbiage in there as well. Next page, again, this is one reason why I put this together, is to help streamline. You can add, take away, start it all over, whatever. Next page, again, this is the same kind of verbiage as Salisbury. Nothing really stood out. The valuation of the grant request, one thing we have to put in there is eventually the date, like the town manager said, is that it needs to be a start date, and it also needs to be a stop date, a completion date, when we're having all this done. Point number 3 right there, that comes from Salisbury as well, is does it have to go in front of all this advisory committee and everything? If the dollar amount's a certain amount, we can change this dollar amount a certain amount. If it's just they had a 5,000, I just left it in there. It could be less or more, or he can make a decision on the fly and say, yes, it needs to be done, and we can just do that and move forward. Even if I go too fast, I ain't gonna read every single note over here on that.
Good pace.
Next page is basically legal background. If you read this legal background, it's pretty much on all of them in the contracts. It's the same thing, saying basically it's from the Supreme Court and was done in 1977. So I just basically took that verbiage right there and put it in there. It's in every one of the contracts. Next page is actually the agreement. I feel that this is an important thing that needs to be done. When there are grants decided, that needs to be some type of agreement. Every one of them has this as well. I didn't see one in Gastonia. That's the only one I didn't see.
I imagine they have one.
They gotta have one.
It's just, when the manager sent that, I just didn't.
And if you look,
He didn't share that.
if you look at the verbiage on all of them, it's got the contracts, they're pretty close to the same. There's, like I said, the Salisbury has a little more because they go more in depth of third-party engineering, which the town pays 100% of. And they also, one thing it's different too, it breaks down, is they got in there is residential and commercial. Residential pays 80%, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, 80%, and for commercial property, they apply for it's 50%. We didn't have that in here. It might be something we could probably adopt in there if you didn't want to, and change it. Very easy to change. Another thing, it's the next page over, try to see if there's anything really stands out compared to the rest of them. It's about the same. One thing I did like on the Salisbury, which you can add on this, and is where it says, to buy the town of Fletcher, who, Mark, I guess, be signing the recipient and witness, it'd be nice to have that notary piece in that, so we can add that notary piece where it's been notarized as well. That's one thing they didn't have, the Salisbury, but Shelby did have that. But we had to come up with, again, when we submitted, I had some stuff I highlighted, but it's hard to see. Had some questions on, I think it's on the last page right here, it's just a one-page submission. One thing is the two sections that's highlighted, expenses shall be prorated according to the street footage. Well, I don't know about that question right there, that can be removed. That again, this was from Salisbury, and the next rent below that.
And I think that gets into, excuse me,
Yeah.
if you're sharing it among
Others.
multiple property owners. Yeah.
And that's something we might have to address in here too, I guess, if there's multiple property owners trying to share. To me, it's almost like one person, it'd be hard to get percentages.
I imagine, I haven't had a chance to talk to others, but in most instances, I'm thinking it's a single property owner they're doing a project with, rather than multiple. But
And the other one right below that, prorated according to the property length. So it's kind of the same, what's in the front of the footage, but that shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's two things that can be really easy taken out. And the other things could be added back into this. Again, this is something we try to put together, Preston and myself, just to streamline to get it going, move it forward, get the ball going versus trying to kick the can down the road where people need the money as soon as they can. The amounts to put in for a large amount, once the money's up, that's the grant's over with. I know like for where I work at, I submitting grants every year. If there's the grant's $10 million, it depends on how many people, when they decide what it is, once the $10 million is up, it's done. I'm not saying to put $10 million in this, but once it's up, the money's up, it's up, that type of thing. It's just trying to get the prioritizing of the categories, like if you look at the front page, if it's impacting your homes or structures and damaging everything, that should be a high impact, If it's just flooding my yard a little bit with no structures and it might be wet, that's a low impact, that type of thing, just kind of the different ones. And forming a advisory panel, I think that's important. Even some people on this council could probably sit on that with other folks and kind of get all their information and help town staff with this as well, so.
Perhaps we can lean on the planning board too, if we need to. But I think this is a wonderful idea. I'm curious how much use it would get from the town, but I do think we should explore this and try to figure out what that number is that cap it out at.
Yeah, and as far as funding source, we probably have to go to unassigned fund balance at first, since we don't have anything budgeted for it right now. If it's something we want to, keep moving here and get that in process, let's just say for sake of argument, next couple of months, something being finalized and let out.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate to explore what we can take out of unassigned fund balance to do this, if it's feasible.
I think it should be feasible because we put that.
Oh, it's feasible.
The ARPA money in there, so it's kind of.
Well, ARPA money is is it for capital projects
Yes.
only? I don't know if this would.
This might be a little bit of a stretch. I mean, this could be considered capital related, but I'm thinking you're more for a specific project and not multiple. I mean, it can be multiple, but maybe not on private property owners' places. But our fund balance, our unassigned fund balance is very healthy to be able to handle this with a, one-time infusion. And one other comment on that, some of these municipalities have stormwater utilities, and so they're funding it with that. And not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but that may be something, in the not-too-distant future you may want to look at, to fund something like this and something a little bit more active with our stormwater improvements and town maintained right away. But that is a funding source for some of these, that because they're ongoing.
And it don't have to be, I guess the question, I wish they might have reached back out to the ones that we talked about and kind of mirroring off of it, don't recreate the wheel. I'm just kind of curious what they're funding, what do they see? Do they say, well, if you put 300,000 or 200,000, that you'll be good? You know, since they do that every single year, I'm kind of curious how much they usually spend out, just to give us a ballpark, I guess, a range to see where we're going to throw that dart. Yeah, so that would be very, very interesting to see, because, this will be the first time we've ever done anything like this, and to help our citizens, and they do it all day.
Yeah, and if we see what kind of interest we get with this and see how it goes, it might be like Mark was talking about, it may be a trampoline into getting into that stormwater fee if we're actually doing things to improve it around town, if it goes well here. And it makes sense to do.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to get you too far ahead on it, but
down the line,
stormwater services are, if I had to name a top 5 things that we hear from residents as far as inquiry, requests for assistance when flooding is happening, stormwater issues or something that come to us or come to staff, and then you all hear about it as well. And we're largely limited what we can do to really help improve someone's individual situation, short of correcting something that maybe needs to obviously be corrected in the town right away. So, which is kind of what led to this, and I told Trevor and Mayor, I think I've mostly had conversations that I'm intrigued with this possibility, a good thing to help the public.
Positive.
Yeah. The other, if I can just add one comment, and I don't mean to interrupt, any other thoughts on this right now, is I just had a chance to look at it and read this today, and I would like to go through it a little bit more carefully on it, and also share it with staff and see if there's any other questions or just logistical things before you adopt this, and then we get a plan for implementing and funding and so forth. Just a couple things that just jumped out. I don't know if you want to do this for private property owners that's just residential, or doing it on private property that's residential or commercial. And just getting way down in the weeds here, like the 3-bid process, that might be something a little further in an application rather than on the front end, or maybe it needs to be on the front, I don't know, because we just haven't done this before.
And I know the 3-bids sometimes might be difficult, I know
right.
I've been trying to get, for our water, I work, it's trying to get people to come and do 3 bids. You might get 2. Because after Helene, it's went from COVID 2.0. People don't want to work to come out, so
it's tough to get. I mean, the town's experienced this on much larger scale with some stormwater improvements like we've done at the park and some places, that it's difficult sometimes to get enough bidders on projects, and hopefully, well-qualified bidders too, But if we could just had a chance to just vet that a little bit, and we can leave this on the agenda, and if there's other comments or so forth next week, we can discuss that and just keep this moving along so we can get it to a point where y'all can authorize us to implement it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, please do, because I know, even council, y'all haven't had a lot of time to digest this. I know Trevor shared this with me, so I've had time to look at it, but that's not true for everybody else, including you all. So please do take the time to look at it.
Would a week be enough to look at it with staff and everything?
Well, we might need more time than that, but at first blush, I think it's a very good draft of a potential program for us, but, there's just some specific question like are we doing residential and commercial?
probably needs to be
Do you want to
addressed.
limit it to residential, which...
I would say my opinion is probably just residential.
I'm thinking
but-
you may want to just do that, not to cut out commercial properties, but you may want to start off that way.
Yeah, just
and
residential right now is my opinion.
There's just some things like that. So anyways, I'll come up with some just comments, questions for next week. And then, after that, once you're comfortable with the specifics on it, then we'll need to fund it and have a implementation schedule.
By next week, you can have the figures come back from other towns, what they've.
Yeah, I can call or email and probably get that pretty quickly. So, yeah, I know the manager fairly well in Shelby, and he says just about all of them said it's worked well for them. But yeah, I can get, all kinds of nuts and bolts on this and how it's worked for them.
What other questions, comments do we have? I'll say, well done, Trevor.
Thanks for taking. I think we're gonna lemonade out of some lemons. It's a shame that's what's happened here in the situation that's put us all in. Good job.
Yeah, it's out there, so it's kind
I like that, working for everybody.
And I was surprised how many grant programs in other municipalities, because I hadn't heard about some of the, what some of the other places are doing. And really, I think would be a good topic, like our professional associations, conference and sessions, because I haven't seen a lot on stormwater, but to have something on this there is as an informational item for other municipalities.
Well, I'm sure it's a big topic of discussion, especially after the hurricane. Any other questions, comments? All righty, Mark, moving into your town manager's report.
Okay, thank you, and I don't have a lot of items here, but run through a few things. The park repairs, so I know we talked a little bit earlier about the bridge. So our contractor, I know I mentioned last month, I'll back up a little bit. So we have punch list items left for all the ball field repair related items, but they're working on that, and that's essentially done. So the next big project was the stream bank repair, the bridge repair, and then the stream bank over on Mills Gap, near Mills Gap Road, that part of the Greenway Trail, the bridge at the back of the park, and then there was some stream bank repair within the main portion of the park. And the Mills Gap Road Greenway is that stream bank has been repaired, and so far it appears McGill Associates, our engineering firm, was comfortable with it. I don't think they've done a final inspection, but I will just say, from the staff looking at it, I think they did a really nice job on it. It looks really good. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we did a kind of progress meeting on site, and they were starting then with the bridge repair. So they've been doing work out there. I've been gone for the last week, so I haven't really had a chance to catch up today to see what progress they've made on the bridge. But the contractor thought if the weather was decent, and I think it was decent last week for the most part, they should have made a decent amount of progress. If that runs smoothly, it's not a long fix or repair for that portion of the project. So the bridge hopefully should be done relatively soon here. I'll be going and checking on the status of that tomorrow and getting a greater update. And then the stream bank repairs in the main portion of the park, and that shouldn't take too long. So we may be in the month range here for this to be largely complete. So hopefully the end of September, we'll be wrapping up. And that's really the bulk of the repairs at the park, which was most of our damage from Helene. Not a lot of other updates on Helene-related issues, other than, debris removal still happening. It's kind of transitioned to this awkward phase, a little bit of the county not being really the main point of contact, but still are with debris removal and the state getting involved, but we're still talking to people at the county with contacts at the state. They're working on debris removal in the streams. I know Amber had contacted me today with a question about contact information. They were coming across your property, and so that's happening, and glad to see that moving forward, but not a lot of other updates on debris removal. So unless there's any questions on that, I was just going to move into Town Center. We met Town Center related with some representatives of Retail Strategies, our consulting firm that's looking at retail opportunities. It's really town-wide, but we wanted to be a little bit more focused on the Town Center property. And so Eric Roof and I met with them a couple weeks ago, and we also did it kind of as a opportunity to introduce some private property owners here. They were interested in their land as some potential sites for retail, and it was some representatives of Youngblood family. We brought Kay Youngblood and Peter Youngblood to meet them and tell them a little bit about what Retail Strategies does. So they're continuing to, use their contacts, Retail Strategies is with retailers, to identify a bunch and see what are fits for our area. And they've got a lot of groups looking at it. Hopefully we want to see this ultimately bear some fruit here, though, where they land. They're also going to be meeting later that day with our former developer of record, so Lewis Real Estate Group, and because we'd like them to take advantage if they put together another proposal on our project to maybe find some retailer anchors in there. So we did that. We'll be getting out and trying to market our updated brochure or list of kind of where we've come and what we're trying to do with the public-private partnership on this and the types of uses we want to see in the Town Center property area. Unless there's any questions on that, I'll move into the Fall Community Appreciation Day. So I mentioned, I think last month, we got a date set up towards the end of October, Friday, October 24th, and we'll be pushing this out, marketing it as a Community Appreciation Day, which is really, it's a fall shred event, and also the medication turn-in, pill drop, we sometimes call it. So the police will be set up there, our police department, for people to turn in old, unused medication. We'll have the shredding vehicle there. And then also, I think CCM, thank you. ABCCM will be there to take donations. And then we're also going to have some food that we're going to help facilitate on site for the public stopping by. Hot dogs, chips, that kind of thing. And so thank you to First Citizens Bank and Mitzi Reed pushing this forward, so getting this organized, and so glad to be a partner on that. And nice to have a fall shred event and spring one. We've been doing one in April typically, so. And that's all I had.
All right.
So any questions?
Questions, Mark? So Christine, this gentleman, Mr. Hill, is he coming next week?
Yes, he'll be here next week. He just would like to let you all know about this and
Yeah.
maybe get some support on it.
Okay.
He's just concerned about the,
The campaign signs are not being able
Yes.
to mow, which I think is
Yes.
valid if,
Yeah.
and I can be able to see the signs anyways if it's growing, but.
But if it creates a safety issue, it's gotta be.
And the safety issue, yeah. Has everybody had a chance to kind of, has it been signed into law yet, do you know? It
yes,
has?
it has. Because
Okay.
in the email, I mentioned the Senate bill, and I forget the number.
I think 2320,
Because I sent you all an email.
391? Yeah. Okay.
And it'll need to be a General Assembly issue ultimately.
Yeah, this isn't local.
Yeah, it's, I mean, y'all can request it and lobby for it, but it's not something locally that, you know, we can just pass.
Yeah, right.
He's speaking at the county commissioners meeting tonight.
Yeah. Has he talked with our legislators too, do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I think it might be worthwhile for us to reach out to our legislators about it. I mean, more than anything, it's a safety issue.
He mentioned.
I think there's some validity to it.
Susan and I, and he mentioned that he did speak to Jennifer Balcom about it, and she wasn't even aware it was in that bill.
Yeah, it's probably buried down in here. I don't even know what this bill is all
Section
about,
15,
but
yeah.
I'll have to go check out the bill in its entirety, but perhaps it's something that we take action on at some point if we're interested in it. Because I do think it's a safety issue.
I agree.
All righty, any other business from council, questions, comments? All righty, hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to adjourn, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are adjourned.